I welcome you all again. Before starting for the webinar on 8D problem solving methodology, now we will revise whatever we learned in the first webinar of 5S methodology for lean manufacturing. Okay, so the why 5S is important because in order to eliminate those 7 types of the waste and in order to improve the safety at workplace and appearance of the workplace, 5S is important. Okay, so what is the 5S? So it is a method or approach for the continuous improvement of order and cleanliness of the workplace. Okay, and it consists of the 5 phases. That is, 1S stands for sort out. In sort out phase, we identify and eliminate the things which we do not need. Okay, and second S stands for set in order. In this phase, the place for everything and everything at its place is kept. Okay, third phase is shine. So shine is nothing but cleaning. So this cleaning is generally understood as a inspection or control. Okay, so this cleaning will help you to early detection of wear and tear of the equipment. And okay, then 4 stands for standardize. This standardization is required for eliminating the possibility to return its original position. Okay, so all the activities done in the 1S, 2S and for 3S, those to be made standard. Okay, so that it will not come to its original position. Okay, then 5S stands for the sustenance. Okay, so the cleanliness and order are the part of your daily routine. Okay, so this sustenance mainly depends upon the attitude of a person. Okay, so this is about the 5S methodology. Then we learn why long-term sustenance of 5S is required, because you all know the efforts required versus time are more for 1S, that is sort out activity, then 2S, that is set in order activity, and then 3S, that is shine activity. So because of this we need a long-term sustenance of the 5S. Okay, then we learn what is the process of implementation of the 5S at your workplace. Okay, so this is all about revision of the 5S methodology for lean manufacturing. Okay, so for more details on this 5S webinar, you can click on the link given in the comment. We will move to the why part of the 8D problem solving methodology. Okay, so this 8D methodology is popular in automotive because it offers your engineering team a consistent, easy to learn and thorough approach to solving whatever problems might arise at various stages of the production processes. Okay, if you apply this 8D methodology properly, you can expect few benefits out of it. Okay, now we will see what are those benefits. So the first benefit is improved team oriented problem solving rather than depending on any individual. Okay, then second, creation and expansion of database of past failure and lessons learned to prevent problems in the future. Okay, then third benefit you can expect improved effectiveness and efficiency at problem solving. Then fourth, a practical understanding of technical root cause and managerial root cause. In our latter part of this video, we will learn what is technical root cause and what is managerial root cause. Okay, and fifth benefit you can expect better ability to identify necessary systematic changes and subsequent input for change. Okay, so this is about the why part of 8D. Now we will move to the introduction of 8D. Okay, in 1960, this Jet Propulsion Laboratory, it is a unit of NASA, started using 4Do's methodology for problem solving. Okay, it consists of define, develop, do and defend. So in define phase, problem description is defined, and in develop phase, the corrective actions are developed in order to eliminate the problem or defect. Okay, in do phase, those corrective actions are implemented, and in defect phase output is controlled with those corrective actions. Okay, in view of this, in 1970 Ford Motor Company started using 8D problem solving process known as TOPS, that is team oriented problem solving. Okay, so this Ford created the 8D process to help team deals with quality control and safety issues by developing customized permanent solution to problems and prevent problem from reoccurring in the future. In the mid of 1990, Ford Motor Company added one discipline called D0 for the planning and preparation phase of 8D report. Okay. Now Ford's global standard called as Global 8D or G8D. With the success of this Global 8D, now all automotive industries are started using this 8D methodology for problem solving. Okay, so this is about the introductory part of 8D. Now we will move to the objectives of 8D. So the main objective of 8D method is to eliminate any problems and to prevent them from occurring again in the future. Okay, this is done through first determination of the immediate measures required in order to avoid the further complaints, then through sustainable and systematic processing of internal and external complaints by determining and eliminating technical, and then through the findings or lessons learned to be compared with comparable businesses or processes or products, and fourth by standard documentation of the problem solving method. Okay, so this is about the objective of 8D. Okay, now we will learn various types of various problem solving methodologies. Okay, so as here you can see I have written various types of methodologies like 8D, then A3 sheet, then PDCA, then AIAG. AIAG stands for Automotive Industry Action Group. Then Six Sigma, you all might be aware with the Six Sigma, and then Shining. Okay, Shining is an advanced methodology. So now we will learn in brief what are those methodology or what it contains. Okay, so the first is 8D. So it consists of 8 phases or 8 discipline, starting from D1, that is team formation, then D2, that is problem description, then D3 containment action, then D4 cause and effect analysis, then D5 defining corrective action and proving its effectiveness, then D6 implementing those corrective action and tracking their effectiveness, and then D7 establishing, and D8 for final meeting or closure of the problem or closure and team celebration. Okay, now we will see the A3 sheet. So this A3 sheet consists of 7 phases. Okay, starting from the background. In this background, why part of this problem selection is mentioned, why we are going to select this problem as a project. Okay, so here it will, for example, internal defect cost reduction, or OE improvement project, that is overall equipment efficiency improvement, or quick changeover. Okay, QCO projects. Like this way you have to give the background of selection of the problem or a project. Okay, then second phase content, okay, or is condition of the problem, how much percentage defect is there, or what is the current percentage OE change, what is the current time for the changeover. Like this way you have to mention the current state of the problem in second phase. Then in third phase you have to set the goals or target, where you want to go, from how much OE to where you want to reach. Let's say from 80 to 85% you want to go. Another example you can take, how much percentage scrap reduction you want to do. Okay, so like this way you have to define your target state. Then analysis. So here you have to do the cause and effect analysis and YY analysis, or you can use any 7 types of quality control tools also for the analysis purpose. Okay, then here it comes proposed countermeasures. From those YY analysis or cause effect analysis you have to define the corrective measures. Okay, and then you have to implement those corrective measures in the plant phase. You have to take a follow for completion of those corrective measures. Okay, so this is about the A3 sheet. Okay, now we will go to the next, that is PDCA, Plan, Do, Check, Act. Okay, in planning phase, problem description is defined. Then in do phase, corrective actions are found out. Then in check phase, those corrective actions are implemented, and in act phase, the output is controlled. Okay, so this is about the PDCA, Plan, Do, Check, Act. Then next is AIAG, that is Automotive Industry Action Group. So it consists of 6 phases. The first phase is problem notification and identification. So in this first phase, actual localization of defect is identified. Then second, containment action. The containment actions are taken in the second. In third phase, failure mode effect analysis is done, and in next fourth phase, root cause analysis is done, and in fifth phase, the corrective actions, whatever corrective actions will come up from the root cause analysis, those corrective actions are implemented, and in the last phase, the output is controlled and all the actions are made standardized. Okay, so this is about the AIAG. Now we will move to the Six Sigma part. So Six Sigma is nothing but it is an approach towards zero defect. Okay, this Six Sigma is having two branches of DMAC and DMA-DV. Okay, DMA-IC and DMA-DV. This DMA-IC generally used by researchers or product development team. Okay, when product is at development phase or at design phase, then this DMA-DV is used. DMA-DV. So this DMA-DV stands for define, measure, analyze, then design and validate. Okay, and if your product is at running level or it is at use level, then you have to use DMA-IC methodology for problem solving. Okay, that is define, measure, analyze, improve and control. Okay, so for this Six Sigma and Shine-in, we will have another video in which we are going to see the details of this Six Sigma and Shine-in. Okay, so here I will just brief you. Now we will move to the next, that is so this Shine-in methodology is used to improve the product performance and product reliability. Okay, this Shine-in methodology is established by Dr. Doreen Shine-in, and it uses the investigative strategy for identifying the root cause from the contrast of Bob and wow part. That is best of best called Bob and worst of worst called wow. Okay, and this Shine-in methodology is a factual approach which depends on the facts only. Okay, so F stands for focus. In this phase, the business problem is converted to the technical problem. Okay, then in approach phase, by developing investigative strategies, this technical problem is converted to the green Y. Okay, then next phase is converge. In this converge phase, by applying dictionary game thinking, this green Y is converted to the suspected red X candidate. Okay, and in the next, that is test phase, this suspected red X candidate is put on the trial, and by turning green Y on and off, the suspected red X candidate is converted to the confirmed red X candidate. Okay, and in the next phase, that is understand, this confirmed red X candidate is converted to the controlled red X candidate. Okay, and in the next phase, that is apply, this controlled red X candidate is converted to the green Y run chart. Okay, so in the last phase, that is leverage, in order to enhance the investigative competency throughout the organizations, the lessons learned in the Shine-in methodology or Shine-in problem solving are shared with all colleagues. Okay, so this is about the Shine-in methodology. Generally, this Shine-in methodology uses the thinking of moving from green Y to the red X, that is from output variable to the potential causes. Okay, and all other rest problem solving methodology like 8D or 6 Sigma or PDCA, those are traditional problem solving methodologies in which the thinking is from X to Y. Okay, so this is about the overview of various problem solving methodology. Okay, so out of these 6 problem solving methodology, in today's webinar we have selected 8D problem solving methodology. So now we will see what is 8D methodology. Okay, so this 8D methodology is a structured team oriented procedure for problem solving in 8 steps or 8 disciplines. Okay, it integrates all necessary steps for organizational processing of a problem or a complaint. Okay, for example, 8. Okay, so step number D1, D2, D3 can be performed in a parallel, while containment actions from D3 are effective until corrective actions are initiated in D6. Okay, so here you can see the D3 containment action started at the start of the project, and those are effective till corrective actions are implemented. Okay, so now here you can see one additional parameter I have written, reaction time 1-2-14-60. So what is this reaction time? Okay, so here are 2 cases. Case number 1, if the customer complaint or a defect is from the local supplier, then you have to use 1-14-60 time frame for problem solving or 8D closure. Okay, so once you receive the customer complaint, in 1 day or within a 24 hours, you have to complete the D1, D2, D3 phase, that is up to the containment action. You have to perform all activity within 1 day. Okay, then 14 stands for 14 days are for finding out the corrective actions and proving their effectiveness. Okay, and in total 60 days you have to close your 8D report. It means you have to finish your customer complaint project. Okay, and case second is when you have the customer complaint from outside city supplier, then you have to follow the time frame of 2-14-60. Here in first 2 days or in 48 hours you have to complete D1, D2, D3, that is up to containment action. You have to complete all steps in 2 days only. Okay, and similarly to the case 1, here in 14 days you have to define corrective action and prove its effectiveness, and in total 60 days you have to complete your project. Okay, so this is about the reaction time. Now I think you might be clear with the what is 8D and what reaction time should be followed for the 8D closure. Okay, now we will move to the next slide, that is area of application. Okay, so this 8D can be used for external and internal problems or complaints. Then if safety issues has been discovered, then also you can use 8D, or if warranty concern have indicated greater than expected failure rates, then also you can use 8D, or for internal rejection or scrap, then poor performance or test failure, for this also you can use this 8D methodology. Okay, this is about the area of application. Okay, now we will move ahead. So as already I mentioned, I have added few case study for this 8D understanding. Okay, so I have taken the case study on application of 8D methodology for minimizing the defects in manufacturing processes. Okay, this case study is from IJERT journal. Okay, so again here I would give you the disclaimer that don't play with the facts and figures. This is only for your study purpose. Okay, and next we have taken one sample 8D report based on axial runout of precision ring. Okay, so same disclaimer is here for 8D report as well. Now we will move to the D0 phase, that is preparation and planning of 8D. As already I mentioned, this phase is added in 1990 for the planning phase of the 8D report. Okay, proper planning will always lead to a better start. Okay, so before beginning of the 8D analysis, it is always better to have a opinion from the experts for the 8D. So before starting, you should collect the information based on the symptoms. Okay, so now we will see what are the details are required from the sample 8D reports. Okay, so the first you need to have the title for the 8D, then the customer complaint number and customer complaint date, then next the name of the supplier and city from which the material is supplied. Then you have to mention the revision date and revision number, as you will have so many iterations for the 8D report, so you have to always write the revision number and revision date on each report. Okay, then next you should have the drawing number, and if any alteration is there for that drawing, then that alteration number as well. Okay, then you should have the part name and how many quantity were delivered, and out of that how many quantity customer is complaining for the quality problem or a defect. Okay, these primary details you should have for the D0, that is preparation and planning phase of the 8D analysis. Okay, with this now we will move ahead for the D1 phase, that is establishing a problem solving team. Okay, to form a team consisting of a person who can contribute with their knowledge and abilities to solve the problem. Also here you can add some customer representative or supplier representative as well. Then you have to identify the team leader and sponsorer, so that the team leader will put all the problem solving team together with cooperation from the sponsorer. Okay, so the result of this D1 will be, we will have a problem solving team. Now we will see the format of D1 from the 8D report. So here you have to start with the team leader's name first, and then you have to involve the cross-functional team members as well. So in this column you have to mention the department, then names of the employee, then their skills and the responsibilities. Okay, so for this completion of D1 phase, we have made one checklist. So now we'll go through that checklist. Okay, so the first question you should ask, that is whether all affected area representatives are involved in the team or not. Okay, then second, does each one has a specific reason for being in the team or not. Then third checkpoint, are they agreed to work upon this project or not. Okay, then next point, does team leader and sponsor are identified, and the last checkpoint is have the roles and responsibilities are reviewed with them. Okay, so this is the checkpoints. With this you will come to know that the team is built up with the cross-functional team members with adequate knowledge and responsibilities. Okay, so this is about the D1 phase. Now we will move to the next phase, that is D2, problem description. Okay, so here you can see a funnel diagram in which how the problem is drilled down to the fundamental problem definition, and then it is drilled down to the technical and managerial root cause. Okay, so what is meant by problem? Problem is nothing but it is a deviation from the defined state. Okay, so the problem description is the detailed description of the situation, facts collection, structuring and analysis of the problem. Okay, then the description must be unambiguous, understandable and generally comprehensible. Okay, if it is necessary, then documented evidences should be provided. For example, photographs, flowchart or numeric data analysis. Next, a risk evaluation also begins with the problem description, as this estimates the occurrence probability and damage magnitude. Okay, so effect on end user have to be estimated in order to initiate the adequate containment actions in D3. Now we will see what are the tools can be used to drill down the problem definition to the fundamental problem. Okay, so I have mentioned here few tools like flow chart, is not status, then Pareto analysis, then numeric data or fact analysis. Okay, so now we will see the tools used from the case study. Okay, so here in the case study they have used the Pareto analysis. Okay, what they have done for the data collection and data analysis, the past 3 months rejection data of coupling disk was collected, and then they have identified the defect and Pareto analysis is done. So here you can see the total number of parts produced 137 and parts rejected are 52. It means that the percentage rejection is around 38%. Then they have categorized the rejection in various defects like dowel pinhole dia 13.2 undersize, then wrong pin fitting, and then pin length. Okay, so with this they have created the Pareto chart. As you all know, the Pareto analysis is depending on 80/20 rule. It means that 80% of the defect are due to the 20% of the problems are due to 20% of the causes. Okay, so by minimizing the 20% problems or causes, you can have the effect of 80%. For this, the Pareto analysis is used. Okay, now we will see the second tool used for the problem description. Okay, so the tool is not status. Okay, this is generally used for converting the problem description to the fundamental problem. So it consists of 4W and 2H. Okay, so 4W stands for who, what, where, when, and 2H stands for how much and how often. Okay, so with this, what you have to do, you have to take the is and is not status of, like this you can see here, who has observed the failure. Okay, who is affected by the problem and who is not affected by the problem. Then who first observed the problem, who did not observe the problem. Then what is the defect, what has the problem, what does not have the problem, or what is a problem, what is not a problem, like this way. Okay, then where it was observed, where it was not observed, then when the problem first noticed, when it could not be noticed, like this way. Okay, then quantity of problem, how many could have not affected, how many could have affected, like this way. Okay, is the trend is continuous or random. Okay, like this questionnaire you have to answer here in is and is not statement. Then for difference between is and is not, you have to give the photographic evidence of each activity. Okay, so this will drill down to the fundamental problem. So this is about the step number D2, that is problem description. So the output of this problem description is we will have a fundamental problem definition. To add this problem description, how should this fundamental problem definition should look? There is one thumb rule to write a fundamental problem description by using 4 P's. That is, first P stands for product or process, then second P stands for problem, then third P stands for place, and fourth P stands for pain. Okay, it means that the fundamental problem definition should include the product name, then what is the defect or problem, then you have to specify the place and in the pain getting. Okay, what amount of pain you are having because of that defect. Okay, so I have created here fundamental problem definition for the case study of disk coupling disk defect. Okay, so it is like this way: elimination of pinhole dia 13.2 undersize defect from coupling disk at soft stage to reduce total defect by 31%. Okay, so here in this problem description you will find where the product name or process, then what is the defect, then at what place the defect is occurring, and what amount of paint or what is the percentage of defect is there. Okay, so like this way you should write the fundamental problem description. Now we will move to the D3 phase, that is containment action. Okay, so directly after a problem becomes known, then containment action must be implemented in order to contain the effect of the problem, with the objective that the customer furthermore gets or delivers as no non-conform products. Okay, then you have to inform all the potentially affected areas to apply the containment action. So this D3 phase will result having a implemented containment actions. Okay, now we will see the containment actions implemented in the sample 8D report and case study. In the case study, all the parts potentially affected by this problem were identified and their locations were pinpointed. All the parts at the customer side as well as at the supplier side were put on the hold. Lots already on the line were called back. Okay, so they have done the 100% checking of the products or components. Okay, now we will see the containment actions from the sample 8D report. What they have done, they have checked their stocks. Also they have checked the stock at the customer level. Then they have checked the stock at transit to the customer level. Okay, also they have checked for the similar. Okay, now we will move ahead to the D4, that is cause and effect analysis. Okay, so here you can see the funnel diagram, how we have converted this fundamental problem to the technical root cause and managerial root cause. Okay, with the help of these fundamental considerations and brainstorming, we have developed some possible causes, and through that possible causes, with the help of Viva analysis, we came to the technical root cause. Okay, so the cause and effect analysis determines why the problem could occur and why it has not been detected. The root cause is determined if the reason for the deviation can be clearly identified, reproduced and proved. Okay, so the derivation of the root cause must be confirmed comprehensively. Then the root cause must be verified preferably and by reducing the non-conformity occurrence. Okay, then after the root cause has been determined and verified, it has to be checked if the scope of this has to be extended or not. Okay, then the containment actions D3 must be revised and if necessary adjusted according to the root cause. Okay, after the identification of the root cause, the risk evaluation will be closed. Okay, this cause and effect analysis will result in documented derivation and description of the root cause, that is technical root cause and managerial root cause, with the evidence or with the proof. Okay, so now we will see what are the tools available for root cause analysis. Here I have listed few tools like fishbone diagram, then fault tree analysis, then ANOVA or JRR, okay, flowchart, FMEA, etc. These tools can be used. So now we will see the fishbone diagram which is used in the case study. Okay, so here I would like to add disclaimer again that this fishbone diagram is just for the understanding and study purpose. Don't go in the detail of these possible causes or any details. Okay, so here you can see at the right hand side the defect is noted, and with this the possible causes through man, material, machine, method. Then you can additionally consider mother nature and measurement as well. Okay, with these various branches and possible causes, they have come up with this defect. Okay, now we will see what are the vital few excess are more influencing the defect. So here you can see the root cause for creation is wrong selection of drill, and the root cause for non-detection is no use of go or no go gauge, and wrong sampling inspection. Okay, so this is about the fishbone diagram or a cause and effect diagram. Okay, now we will move to the Viva analysis part. So here for Viva analysis we have related this analysis to the cause and effect diagram. Okay, so in the case study they have not mentioned about anything related to Viva, so just learn this how Viva is carried out. Okay, then so here you have to consider the root cause for the creation. So as I have considered wrong selection of the drill, then you have to ask the further question that why it has caused. Because it has caused because of we didn't have correct tool. So then you have to ask next why you didn't have the correct tool, because it was not available. So again you have to ask the question why it was not available in the inventory, because the supplier did not deliver the replacement of the drill. Why he has not delivered the replacement of the drill? Because supplier did not receive the PO on time. Why he has not received the PO on time? Because we did not submit the PO on time. Okay, then again if you will go ahead in the Viva analysis, then you will go towards the managerial root cause. Why it was, we don't know. So if you go again in detail for this Viva, then you will come across the managerial root cause. So here we did not submit PO on time. For this you have to initiate the action. Okay, so that the wrong selection of the drill will not happen. Okay, this is about the Viva analysis. Now we will move to the what is the technical root cause and what is the managerial root cause. Okay, so the technical root cause is generally due to the interaction of causing conditions. Okay, and managerial root cause, why the occurrence of this condition has been admitted. Okay, now you may say that why it is important to look behind the technical root cause. Okay, so there are two reasons to look for the managerial root cause. The first one is if the defect of similar pattern arises, then it should be prevented. And second, each problem solving is an opportunity to improve the management system as well as the organization. Okay, so this managerial root cause consists of a systemic root cause and leadership root cause. Okay, so the systemic root cause is due to the management system or business processes. Okay, for example, management system is nothing but specification for the product or processes, then FMEA. Then for business case example is control chart or work instructions. Okay, if those control chart or work instructions are unambiguous or not created, or those are misleading, then also there is a chance of defect or non-conformity. Okay, then second is leadership cause. So this leadership cause is due to personal or a organization. Okay, personal causes are all issues that affects associates deployment and qualification. Okay, so for example, less skilled or unskilled operator working on the machine. Okay, or depending on their skill they have not deployed for the operation, like this way. Okay, then organizational causes relates to how part of the organization work together and how's responsibility are defined. Okay, for example, are they regularly conducting meeting between two functions? Okay, like this. So this is about the managerial root cause. Okay, so up till now we have learned D1 establishing a problem solving team, then D2 problem description, then D3 taking containment actions, and then D4 cause and effect analysis. Okay, I think up till now you are clear with this all 4 steps. Okay, so without wasting much time, now we will move to the next phase, that is D5, defining corrective action and proving its effectiveness. Okay, so you have to define the potential corrective action to eliminate the root cause. Then second, theoretical and practical examination of the measures must be performed in order to prove the effectiveness and prevent with objective evidence unrequested for the secondary effect. Then third, you have to select the corrective action for the implementation. Okay, so this D5 will result in having a corrective action with effectiveness evidences. Okay, so now we will see from the case study what are the corrective actions they have taken. Okay, so the following corrective actions were recommended in order to avoid the occurrence of the defect. The use of proper 13.2 mm drill tool instead of 13 mm drill tool for performing drilling operation. Okay, then use of proper no-go gauge for checking hole size during the dispatch. Then revise sampling inspection method. Instead of one sample, they have started to check the 5 samples per lot. Okay, then at the end they started maintaining the tool history card. Okay, so that is how much life is used and how much life of that drilling tool is pending, like this way. Okay, so this is about the corrective actions from the case study. Okay, now we will move to the next slide. So here I have added one slide for mistake proofing principles, methods and devices. Okay, so here we will not go in detail with this mistake proofing principle, methods and devices. We will have a separate video on this. In order to just park a question in your mind, I have added this mistake proofing principles as well. Okay, so there are 6 mistake proofing principles as elimination, then prevention, then replacement, then facilitation, then detection and then mitigation. Okay, out of these 6, elimination, prevention, replacement and facilitation, these are used for the elimination of the defects. Okay, and then detection and mitigation is used for minimizing the effect of that defect. Okay, then there are 5 methods for mistake proofing, such as variation control, then workplace organization, then identification, then process checking and last POCA-AK. Okay, so out of this you can use any one of the method for the mistake proofing in your project. Then there are 7 devices for the mistake proofing. So the first one is guide pin, then error detection alarm, then limit switches, then sensors, then vision system, then counters and timers, and lastly checklist. Okay, so I have added this mistake proofing slide just to trigger you for the mistake proofing methodologies. And so with this, now we will move to the next phase from the 8D, that is D6. Okay, it is nothing but implementing corrective actions and tracking their effectiveness. Okay, so the implementation of the previously selected corrective actions, validation of the effectiveness after implementing, and ensuring that there are no negative consequences. Okay, the result must be documented, and removal of the containment action after introduction and verification of the corrective action should be done with agreement to the customer. Okay, so this D6 will result in established and in the effectiveness confirmed corrective actions and removal of containment actions from D3. Okay, now we will see the action plan format for this implementation of the action. So this is the sample action plan format. Here you have to write the number of actions 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever you have identified. Then you have to write first what was the cause or what was the defect, then what containment action you have taken. Okay, then how you have verified the root cause, then you have to write who has verified the root cause, how the verification is done, then what action you are going to take. Okay, then accountability of that action. Okay, what will be the effect, then when it is planned and at what date actually it is finished. Okay, and here in the end there is a status. Okay, so the first quarter field is nothing but registered problem and short term corrective actions are in place. Okay, then if it goes to the 2 quarters, then it comes for the long term corrective actions developed but implementation is pending. If it goes for the third quarter, it means that the long term corrective actions are also implemented and effectiveness is tracking. Okay, and if all the circles are filled, if all the quarters are filled, then the long term corrective actions confirm are effective and the problem is closed. Like this way, this is the status like PDCA. Okay, in status like PDCA. Okay, so now we will move to the next phase of 8D report, that is D7, establishing preventive actions. Okay, the occurrence of comparable problem in other businesses or production processes and products due to the identified root cause must be prevented with the review and update of the documentation. For example, failure mode analysis documentation, that is FMEA document, then control plan updation, then drawings alteration or updation. Okay, then with definition of appropriate measures in respect to the quality management system. Okay, then third, through transfer of adequate expertise via lessons learned or findings. Okay, so the result of this establishing preventive action will be having a updated standard and lessons learned to be shared with all among colleagues. Okay, so this is about the D7 phase of the problem solving methodology. We will see the tools used for establishing a preventive actions. There are various tools like control chart, then histogram, FMEA, capability analysis, etc. Okay, so now we will move to the preventive actions from the case study. Okay, so here you can see there are two preventive actions taken. So the first action is dowel pin, that is masterpiece, is prepared for in-process inspection. Okay, then second, toolbox is prepared to place the drills separately according to their size to avoid the human error. Okay, so these two preventive actions they have taken. With this, now we will move to the last step of 8D report, that is D8 for final team meeting or closure of the problem and team celebration. Okay, so the problem solving has to be assessed in a meeting with participation of all possibly involved persons. Here prerequisite is you should have a completed D1 to D7 phases. Okay, so the all steps from D1 to D7 are reviewed in the whole flow of the problem solving process. Okay, then the result is documented, and for a complaint which refers to former or running problem solving with known root cause, the step D8 does not have to be executed again. Okay, so the result of this final meeting will be having a discussion and debriefing and evaluation of the steps from D1 to the D7 and a conclusion of a problem solving with the agreement of all involved persons and if necessary from the customer as also. Okay, and acknowledgement of the teamwork by the sponsorer is to be taken place. Okay, so this is about the steps from D1 to D8. Okay, so now with this we will have the revision for today's webinar. Okay, so we have started with the revision of 5S methodology for lean manufacturing processes. Okay, then we went for the why part of the 8D analysis. Okay, so why 8D analysis or 8D problem solving methodology is required? Because it will offer your engineering team a consistent, easy to learn and thorough approach for problem solving. Okay, then we move to the introductory part of the 8D. So this 8D previously started with JPL as a 4D, and then Ford Motor Company started using this 8D problem solving, and and the standard process of force is now known as global 8D, and all the automotive industries has started using this global 8D methodology. Okay, then we went to the objectives of the 8D. Okay, so the main objective of 8D is to eliminate any problem and prevent them from occurring again in the future. Okay, this was the main objective. Then we moved to the various problem solving methodologies like 8D, A3 sheet, then PDCA, then AIAG, then Six Sigma, and last Shining. Okay, out of this, from 8D to Six Sigma, these are all the traditional problem solving methods which uses the thinking of from X to Y, that is from potential causes to the output. And Shining is an advanced problem solving methodology which uses the thinking of moving from Y to X, that is from output variable to the root cause, that is red X. Okay, so this is about the problem solving method. Okay, then we learn what is 8D. So 8D is a structured team oriented procedure for solving the problems in 8 discipline or 8 steps. Okay, then we come across reaction time. So the reaction time is 1-2-14-60. It means that if the local supplier is there, then you have to follow 1-14-60 timeline, and if the supplier is from the out of city, then you have to follow the 2-14-60 time limit. Okay, then we move to the next, that is areas of application. Okay, so this 8D can be used for internal and external complaints. Then if safety issues have been arised, okay, for this also you can use. Okay, with this now we will revise all the steps from D0 to the D8 with the help of this sample 8D report. Okay. So again, here the disclaimer is it is for the study purpose only. Okay, so we'll move ahead. So for this D0 phase, you should have the concern title which you will get from the customer. Okay, it may be in any form. Okay, then you should have the customer complaint, then complaint date. Okay, then in each and every revision report you should mention the revision number as well as revision date. Okay, then you have to mention the drawing number of that product, or if any alteration is there, then you have to mention that alteration number. Okay, then you should have the part name. Okay, as well as how many components you were delivered, and out of that how many they are claiming for the defect. Okay, so this primary knowledge you should have in the D0 phase, that is planning phase. Okay, the second phase was D1, formation of establishing a problem solving team. Okay, here in D1 phase you should have a cross functional team so that all affected area representatives will be considered for the problem solving. Okay, also here you can add the representatives from external supplier or customers as well. Okay, then it is better to add here the column of skill and responsibilities as well. Okay, so here in this sample 8D report they have not added the column of skills and responsibilities. Okay, no issue. Then second problem, so as already I mentioned in D2 phase, that is problem description phase, the fundamental problem definition should contain the product or process, then what is the problem, then at what place the defect is observed, and how much pain is there. Okay, in pain how much amount of monies are incurred, or how much % defect is there, this you have to mention. Okay, here simply they have given that axial runout from the phase to inner dia not okay. Okay, they have mentioned here what is the nominal size and what actually found. Okay, so like this way you have to mention the. Then it comes to the containment action. In order to implement containment actions, 100% checking is to be done So here they have checked the stock at their level, then they have checked the stock at customer level, then they have checked the stock in transit to the customer, as well as they have checked for the stock of similar pattern or similar types as well. Okay, so this is about the containment action. Also they have mentioned the date on which these actions are completed. Okay, so this up to the containment action you have to complete within 1 or 2 days depending on the case, as already I told you. Okay, then here they have done the root cause analysis. So they have come up with the root cause analysis for creation of the defect and root cause analysis for the non-detection as well. Okay, so here you have to choose the corrective actions for creation of the defect as well as for detection of the defect. Okay, so here you can see they have choose the actions like add check of spindle play in maintenance. Okay, then check if regular moving of the spindle is leading to lower or no wear of the spindle. Okay, then conduct clamping test to identify the effects of clamping force. If necessary, adjustment is to be done. Like this way they have chosen the corrective actions. Okay, then for detection of the defect they have chosen the corrective action as a updation of the control plan. Okay, also you can have the POCA for the detection of the defect as well. Okay, so this is about the choosing of corrective action. Okay, then in D6 the implementation of the corrective action. So they have implemented the corrective actions like check of spindle play added to the maintenance plan, then movement of the spindle head added to the maintenance plan, as well as the process FMEA they have updated, okay, with the revision number. Okay, then for corrective actions regarding detection of defect they have updated the control plan. Also they have updated control plan in additional to check of axial runout with new tapered gauge outside the machine work. Okay, and also they have mentioned date on which date the actions are completed. Okay, then next phase D. Then here comes D7, that is establishing preventive actions. Okay, so they have mentioned here updation of design FMEA, then updation of process FMEA, that is DFMA and PFMA. Okay, then they have updated the control plan. Also they have updated the work instructions of the maintenance machine plan. Okay, then at the end in the D8 the congratulations of the all team, and you have to take the signature of the sponsorer for closing out this 8D report. Okay, so this is about the sample 8D report. Okay, also they have added below some attachment. Okay, like process FMEA they have added, then control plan they have added. So this is a photograph of new testing method. They have purchased a tapered gauge. Okay, then this Viva analysis they have done. These are few documents related to it. Like this way you have to prepare a 8D report for the any customer complaint with all the evidences. Okay, I hope you have enjoyed this webinar on 8D problem solving methodology. As you all, the power of PowerPoint presentation is more important than the PPT. So, but still, if you want the study, then I will provide those study material in your WhatsApp group as well as in your Telegram groups. Okay. With this, thanks for your support and watching. Okay, if you have any doubts or queries or comments, you can write in the comment box. I will get back to you personally.